an assistant professor in languages, literature, and philosophy as well.
Perfect. Now, without further ado, we want to welcome Dean Morgan Curtis from the College of Liberal Arts to welcome our speaker as one of the noted professors that encouraged her transition from English education to English as a major, and just anything she wants to welcome our esteemed guest speaker with.
I am very glad to do so. Oh, wait a second. I seem to, oh, look, something popped up on my computer. Oh goodness, where did that come from? I I think I might be having a malfunction. Um, the wonderful thing about having a learning management system and having uh, web enhanced my courses for many, many years is I have all of my courses going back for years and years and years. And so I pulled up an information card filled out by Chandler Alicia Marie Wilson when she joined the class. And this was in fall of 2016. And at that time, she wanted to teach high school English, check. She wanted to continue her education at Fisk University and get a master's in education. So, 50, batting 500 there. And her strengths were in writing research papers and creative short story writing, and that she loved to do research about certain topics that I am interested in and report back with my evidence learning new things. I also have a strength in writing some activist poetry. And I would say, besides being just looking exactly the same age as she did in 2018, I would say that that looks like a really good look into the future. Um, I will share that and I will make that available to the participants. I'll put that in the chat. I also have and I won't share this. I do have all of a certain person's English 3010 approaches to literature journals, and if she needs those, I've got them. And I just want to say how proud I am to know Chandler Wilson. I'm so pleased to have been part of her journey. And I don't know about the rest of you, but if you don't already, very soon you will understand that the world is a better place for having Chandler Wilson in it and for having Chandler Wilson as an active educator. I will say that I did stand in the hallway outside of what was then 104 Davis Humanities and talk to someone who was very, very stressed one day, who was getting really close to graduation and felt really, really unsure of herself. And after a mild panic, realized that it was all going to be okay. And I would like to say that that was 100% correct as well. So thank you for returning to us for a little while, Chandler Wilson, and you know how much I love you.
Love it. Thank you, Dean Morgan Curtis. So I'm going to allow Chandler to take the floor just a second. I want to read this lovely bio that she provided for me so that I can just inform those who are not familiar with her a little bit about her background. So she's a 2018 graduate of she says, illustrious Tennessee State University, where she earned a bachelor's degree in English. She actively participated in the First Ladies Club, Inc. and the Aristocrat of Bands. For the past 8 years, she's taught ninth grade English, and for the last 2 years, she's been recognized as a level 5 teacher in Tennessee. Currently, she ranks number 5 in the state for student growth among all schools offering English 1. She teaches at KIPP Antioch Global High School, where she serves as a master teacher. To achieve this recognition within the KIPP network, as a master teacher, she presented data. She had administrative and parent recommendations, student surveys, and student work. Finally, she is currently pursuing a PhD in education policy with goals to influence graduation requirements in Tennessee and improve college readiness opportunities for Black and Brown students through her future career in government and policy. Without further ado, everybody, please get your emojis together, get your hands together, and welcome our guest speaker, Chandler Wilson. Yay! So Chandler, I just want you to start off just telling us about your choice to attend Tennessee State University and your major and experience in the LLP department. So what was that like? I know we talked about you transitioning from education and English to just English. So if you could just inform our audience about that, we'll just transition from there.
Yes, thank you so much for everyone's kind words, especially Dr. Morgan Curtis. I'm so honored to be coming and speaking during homecoming week. Owe so much to the English department and Tennessee State University, just in general, for like the growth that I've had within the department and just at the school. And I just really thank you all, and I'm so blessed to be back to speak with you all today. My influences to come to Tennessee State University. I always knew that I wanted to go to a historically Black college or university. Um, Lane College in my hometown was a little too close, 20 minutes up the road. I knew that I did not want to be so close to home, and TSU was perfect for me. I also have an uncle, Sammy Comer, that taught agriculture business in the Department of Agriculture. So I always was aware of TSU, going to Southern Heritage Classic in Memphis and coming to the homecomings, being so close to the school. Also, like you said in my bio, I was coming to march in the aristocratic bands, been playing clarinet since the sixth grade, so I knew that that was in my future. Being in the English department, we were such a small department. I think it may have been like 25 of us. Um, we got first dibs on all the classes, so it wasn't like the bigger majors like biology where you were fighting to get into classes. They kept those classes open for us to make sure that we had all the courses that we needed. Felt very special on campus knowing that all my classes were in place and lots of encouragement from my teachers. So I loved the English department, loved it.
Perfect. Dr. Jennifer Hayes, would you like to say a few words about having Chandler as a student? I know that I'm putting you on the spot. I know you have to go a little bit earlier, but I wanted you to just have an opportunity to just share, because I know she noted you as well as being one of those professors that said, okay, we got to be in and out. We got to get our work done and we got to push through. So she noted you very specifically for pushing her through the program in the sense of just matriculating as quickly as she could.
For sure. And excuse me, because I had no idea that I needed to speak. But my memory of Chandler in class, I think she took more than one upper division with me. One that I remember was 4010. I taught a seminar on August Wilson. So I taught his whole cycle. And I thought it was really important for students to be able to interact with a writer over like the course of their work, right? And I always remember her being dedicated, being ready, having read, and being able to speak knowledgeably about the text that we were considering in class, and being able to connect what we were talking in class to real life situations beyond the scope of whatever text we were engaging. But beyond what we did in class, I'm still happy to be working with Miss Wilson in terms of bringing her students to the campus. And so not only has she continued her education, but she's continued to try to mentor other youth and encourage them to seek out opportunities at Tennessee State University. So we already had one session where she's brought students in, and we're planning to do that 2 more times. So I'm very pleased to support her and just to see her growth, because she's not just, interested in what she can learn for herself. She's also very thoughtful about how she can extend that knowledge to other groups. So
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hayes. I did want to give you that opportunity because I know you messaged me and said you had to leave a little early from the session, and I was going to open the floor at the end, which might have been like 20 minutes from now. So I wanted to give you that opportunity just to hear how you are regarded by your former faculty.
no
And
worries. I can always say positive things about Miss Wilson, and it's not a lie because she's true blue and she follows through. Look at me rhyming. All right.
yes, ma'am. And we like a little spontaneity in our session. So I provided an agenda, but of course we can slightly veer off a little bit. So, Dr. Gomes, would you like to proceed?
Sure. Yeah. Um, so honestly, I had a couple things would just really love to hear your thoughts on. Um, and partly because I had one assignment for me that actually just like in undergrad that, changed my whole trajectory into um into English and into being a professor. So which assignments from your academic journey have had a lasting impact and have been integrated into your teaching practices in a K through 12 environment?
So I did some digging recently and not necessarily an assignment, but I have practices that I've picked up from professors along the way. First off, the amount of feedback that I would get on papers was amazing. I could only imagine them sitting down and putting their eyes on all the papers and being an English teacher now and giving those assignments and having to put my eyes on all the papers and wanting to give that feedback. Feedback was always so helpful in improving my writing. I want to do that same thing for my students. It is extremely time consuming, so kudos to you all for doing that. I think I took the feedback for granted because my students want it and I wanted it. I was excited to get the feedback. Um, Sometimes a little sad because it would be a lot, but it helped. Also, I have my English 1020 notebook from 10 years ago that I got started with Dr. Pinker that I also use this same kind of notebook system in my ninth grade English class, simple, just dates and prompts and writing and being able, I look at her handwriting in my notebook and could only imagine sitting and opening up all the notebooks from English 1020 and looking over those. So like, it's not necessarily the assignments, but seeing them in practice and being able to use those same practices
Mhm.
on the school level to prepare my students to go to any college or university and be successful.
Great. Yeah. Thank you for that. And what sparked your interest in the humanities field during your academic journey?
My love of stories, I really love story and any story, it doesn't matter. All the texts that we got to interact with. And I think before I even knew how much I really loved like words and language, think all of and I never got the opportunity to get so many texts at a time. Sometimes we'd read 10 novels in a quarter. And that really sparked my love of just learning about the human experience and what other people go through those pages.
Great. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Perfect. Before we move on to some additional questions, Chandler, I want you to, if you can, talk about specific courses that you took, because I know when we had our conversation before the event, you mentioned a few specific courses that you took in specific assignments. One, I believe you mentioned was critical approaches. You got to write about Beyonce,
Mhm.
and you mentioned that one. So I want to highlight LLP and
Yes.
our creativity and what we try to offer students in terms of non-traditional approaches to learning and even just um, exploring the human experience in different mediums. So, yes.
Okay, so I wrote them down. I had to look through my email to find my transcript to get some of these courses that I took, which I think it was November 2020 to find my most recent transcript from when I left. So I had the English 1020 notebook. My first class with Dr. Hayes was Black Arts and Literature. That was fall 2015. After that class, every class that she offered, I tried to be in. So I made sure that I was in all of those classes. Also, I had my fall 2016 critical approaches. That's the first time I met Dr. Morgan Curtis in all of her office hours, and I still have the book with all of the tabs and in the nature. She gave out some extra assignments during this class. Um, I connected the feminist approach to Cranes in the Sky by Solange Knowles to kind of talk about her album. Also Shakespeare with Dr. Hannah Quinn. Another kind of extra assignment to replace the so back then, in college, I had an obsession with like Black cinema at the time, and I switched out the cast of Romeo and Juliet with people that would play during particular movies during the 90s. So I think I put Taye Diggs as Romeo and Nia Long as Juliet, like just switching those people out and why I thought those were um, good fit for those characters. Also taking children's literature and studying Coraline at the collegiate level was really great. And then I have contemporary Black novels and literature of Black life with Dr. Hayes as well. So those were the courses that I got to. And a lot of my favorite books came from these courses. So I think of Salvage the Bones by Jasmine Ward. I tell people all the time that's my favorite novel, but I first got that in college. And now I teach Colson Whitehead, The Underground Railroad, and I read that with Dr. Hayes and all the poetry that I wrote with Dr. Pinker. All of the courses were great.
Dean Morgan Curtis has something she wants to share.
Again, I wasn't going to do this blindly, but as I said, the internet is forever.
Oh gosh, there it is. Seated table. It was multicultural lens. Okay, not feminist. Okay.
But because it's multicultural, it included the feminist theory
Oh,
within it.
wow.
So
That's
yes,
crazy.
I will. And like I said, it is just as good as I remember.
Oh,
So,
yes.
but I wasn't going to throw that up there without giving you fair warning that it was coming.
A little blast from the past is always good. I love it. I love that we have artifacts. Aren't we like the artifacts
We
group?
prepared as possible.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we archive like no other, right? The humanities folks. We archive, honey. I think history is probably the other group that might do it as much as we do. Okay, Dr. Whitney, would you like to proceed?
Hello, everyone. First, if I just can re-echo to thank you so much for coming here. Your input is invaluable for our students.
Thank
It really
you.
is. And in fact, if I could ask a question that sort of gets to some of that. So we're wondering if you could go back in time and advise your undergraduate self about teaching K through 12 or going into graduate studies. What might you say? And we're kind of hoping that what your advice for your previous self would be helpful for our students as well.
There's no other experience like talking and discussing these texts in the English department. It's one of a kind. It cannot be replicated. Sitting in classes and being able to go over these things with a professor that's so knowledgeable is unmatched. Um, I also think about the things that I get the opportunity to teach to my students and being able to debate with them. And I use those same techniques. Um, my advice that I would give, it's important to be a master of your content at the high school level. Um, having a bachelor's of English gives me an advantage that maybe an education major may not have compared to someone that has their bachelor's in English. And I'd like to say that it helped me pass my praxis on the content level. So if you're taking the praxis and you're teaching high school, the master of your content and being able to teach it compared to just having the education bachelor's is completely different.
All right. One last question. Can I ask what your aspirations are for when you complete your PhD?
Yes, I want to do bipartisan work at the college readiness lens. It's important for me that the students have the classroom practices to be able to thrive at a university level. I see that sometimes the things that we're doing in high school don't match what you all are doing at the college level, so they come unprepared. So I'd like to influence at a local level, hopefully state at some point, to make sure things match up for the students. And I know college isn't for everyone, but I want to make sure that the students that do want to go to college are thoroughly prepared to be there and meet those expectations.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, now we're a bit early, but this is lovely because we have more room for folks just to share their reflections or ask Chandler any questions. So the floor is open for any faculty testimonies, any kind of, discussions, anything that Chandler wants to bring to the forefront. If you just want to ask folks questions like, hey, so what you working on now? The floor is open. We're happy to kind of depart from our formal questions to something more conversational now, that welcomes everybody in the audience. So open floor for any commentary.
Also, thank you to all my family I see a lot of my family on here, so hello to you all. Thank you for joining.
Hello, Miss
Hi,
Wilson's
family.
family.
Yes, bye.
Hello, Chandler. So good to see you. You look so
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking with us today. I'm here with future educator Jasmine Watkins, and we were looking forward to this event. We're also in our puzzle get down, so this is Black History. So we're talking and learning at the same time. I
Yes.
guess what I'm transitioning to is a lot of the time we spent together. We were doing service learning activities, going outside of the campus, and thinking about how those skills were applicable. What advice would you give to students like Jasmine about what they can do now to complement the curriculum that they're doing, to help prepare for a career in teaching? Or what did you find effective during your time here?
I would say to use your voice as much as possible. Your students look at you as the most knowledgeable person in the room, so it's important to get the most information that you possibly can because you all were so knowledgeable, so I try to make sure that I take those practices with me in the classroom. So being as knowledgeable as you possibly can on the curriculum and the content, like all the little tidbits that you can give them that I feel like that I got from my professors, and it just made me know like, oh my God, they know so much about the content. You're just not up there playing. And just making sure you use your voice. As much as participation as you possibly can when you're in class to practice speaking to your students.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
I also want to highlight, I had Jasmine as a student last semester, and I'm just going to toot her little horn a little bit. Jasmine is very committed to exactly what you're saying, and I want to continue to encourage her as a matriculating student LLP, to use her voice. And she had such a beautiful she did a creative reflection on something we were talking about, and she developed like an album cover that married her culture. And I saw your paper was on multiculturalism, but I do remember that about her. Sometimes we look at the students, our impact on the students, but the students do impact us as well. And so just remembering their assignments, archiving them for future reference as artifacts for future students. And I just want to acknowledge now that she's in the room, that again, this is your trajectory. You're on your way, and I'm very excited that you get to hear from someone who has completed but is still on the journey
Yes.
through her own education. Other comments?
When I was in grad school, one thing that they talked to me was developing a teaching persona in the classroom to separate yourself, your personal self, from what's going on in that space. How have you cultivated a teaching persona? How does that maybe differ from your student self or your personal self?
Well, that's a really great question. I would say that as a teacher, it's like a buzzword. It's warm and demanding. And if you asked my family, I don't probably switch a lot. I probably keep my teacher hat on most of the time. It's the art of making sure to have the expectations set, but also still be warm. Making sure that they know that the work is important, but I also love you and I want you to do well, but you still have to do the work. So it's the balance in between meeting the expectations, but still trying to be personable and empathetic in the learning space.
I have a follow-up question, Chandler, about your student demographic where you are teaching, because I know we had a brief conversation about it. Um, and can you talk about just how, again, you are looking to establish more visibility for those students? Because I know that there are some students who are first generation students, some students that, again, come from different cultural backgrounds. So can you talk about your demographic at KIPP and just what you're doing on the K through 12 level currently to bring more visibility to your students?
I teach predominantly students of color, all 30% Hispanic, 30% Egyptian, 30% um, Kurdish, they're Middle Eastern, they're all different shades of brown and black students. I think it's important that they are exposed to the university level. Most of my students are immigrants, and they may not have the opportunity to know some of the a lot of schools they boost up here in Nashville, like they'll tell you Vanderbilt and Belmont and all that, but I make a point to try to bring as many students to TSU as possible, um, and making sure that they know how great of a university TSU was because it still is, and I just want to make sure that they're exposed to that because there's other options, especially in state.
Just a quick thing. I'm speaking on behalf of Jasmine. She really perked up as you were describing your students. She wanted to know what school do you teach at, and she wants to follow up with you to see if it's possible she could shadow one of your classes one day.
Okay, absolutely. I teach at KIPP Antioch Global High School, so the Antioch area is extremely diverse, and I tell them all the time, especially when I'm introducing certain novels. So, right now we're reading The Nickel Boys, and because my students are mostly immigrants, I have to do a lot of background knowledge on things because they may not study some of the errors that we have here and are super prevalent in our school. So I have to give all types of background knowledge so they'll better understand. A lot of them speak a different language. For a lot of them, English is their second language. So, the most diverse group of students that I've ever taught, and they make teaching English so fun because what I may not had to explain at like Pearl, because that's where I taught recently, which is predominantly Black in North Nashville, I definitely have to explain in Antioch. Just switching from different cultures and ethnicities makes it even more fun to teach there.
So you're saying not every student is the exact same and that you actually have to adapt and be flexible?
Absolutely. Very flexible. They have, I tell them all the time, they have pushed me um, further than I've ever been pushed because I originally only taught in predominantly Black high schools. So what I would have to explain to one group of students may have to be completely different for the next group.
Jasmine had a thought about what you were saying about Nickel Boys.
That I get that it's like having to explain it differently because as a Mexican and Black person, I understand where it comes from an immigrant's point of view of learning new things and trying to adapt while still learning and not knowing the culture, but trying to blend your culture in the classroom as well. And you taking your time to learn and try to adapt that into your lesson plans and your teaching lifestyle is very opening and it's very something that speaks to me because that's what I want to be want to mold myself as when I become an educator.
Oh, you're gonna love it. It's fun. It's hard, but it's fun.
It's fantastic. We're gonna get you two
Love it.
connected
Yes.
because again,
Love it.
this is a big part of, and I know we had technical difficulties at the beginning, but I want to thank Dr. Shabazz for this because this is where we're headed in LLP is building communities. So definitely, we want to get our alumni with those. And I was telling Jasmine before she started, I said, "Oh, Chandler was here in 2015, 16, what have you." I said, in 7 years, you're going to be the one speaking to the student that comes next. So it's good to get a little peek at our future and our communities. All right. So I'm going to pass it back to you, Dr. Shabazz, but we're going to get
You're
you two.
fine. You're fine. We actually ahead of the ball game, so we might end up wrapping up a little earlier. But I did want to ask Chandler about her graduate studies and just her journey into graduate studies. I think this is the natural conversation. So I know that Jasmine, our student who's with Dr. Pinker, mentioned, obviously thinking about the praxis when I taught her last semester, and this was like a big thing for her. So if you can just kind of give us a little bit more insight into your experience with the praxis as well as just graduate studies and how you kind of transition into your graduate studies after becoming a teacher in Tennessee.
Yes. So I had a conversation with Dr. Hayes at the end of my matriculation at TSU, and she basically told me like, okay, it's time to go. So what's next steps? And I truly did not feel ready to leave yet because I did not know what my next steps were when it came to finding a job, and because to be honest, I did not have the teacher's license. I had only done the English, the bachelor's of English, but after like lots of research, I knew that I could do my Master of Arts in Teaching and add that on, and they would help me get my licensure that way. And that really helped. I think having the content, then having the teaching experience. And I will say Tennessee State University is great college of education. I feel like it leaned more towards elementary education, and I knew that I was not going to be teaching little kids after sitting through a couple of those classes. They taught them so well, I just knew. I was like, I have to get out of here. This is not going to work. Um, so I got my Master's of Arts in Teaching and moved to a reading specialist because I wanted to make sure that I was serving all of my students with reading disabilities, like all of the things at Lipscomb, and then started the PhD program because at one point at TSU, I'll say that I did have an interest in political science, but never pursued that, but knew that I could go the policy side. At Lipscomb, I was waiting for a program to open up that was education policy centered because I truthfully do not want to be a principal. That's not my goal. I do want to work in government and influence the policies behind the scene. So it's been really big stepping stones in order to get to where I am now to kind of figure out. But I will say um, each program was towards my passion, and that's like helping students just in general to be successful. So.
Chandler, you'll be pleased to know that where you were trailblazing and going, I'm going to get the degree and then bring in the certification. That's actually the model we have moved to for that very reason, because we want the students to have that grounding in the discipline. And also, to be quite honest, and this is something you and I talked about back then, is one of my pet peeves was asking students to basically work for a year for free. And so this is much more about having that internship type of thing and the placement. So you broke the ground, but this is now the path that we push folks towards.
Good, because I think they recommended to double major at the time. I didn't want to take on any other, anything else. So I knew that I could push towards the master's program and get the teaching experience that I needed. And nothing's changed. I feel fine. It's not like I'm at a deficit or anything like that. So I am glad that I took the path that I did.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the graduate committee question now. Can you tell us a little bit about your dissertation and the direction that you are going with your dissertation? I think you mentioned your ABD, so I just want to hear about. And ABD means she's done all her coursework except for the dissertation. It's still in progress, but she will defend soon. So I just want to hear about your journey to the dissertation, the subject that you're focusing on, and just again how you think this dissertation work is going to influence your career in education policy.
Yes. I think Lipscomb's plan and the way that they have this set up was great. We didn't start off writing or start off picking a topic. They let us take the classes before we were able to decide because I will say truthfully, I did not know yet what I was going to write about. I think they wanted us to kind of find a path through the classes. A lot of us didn't have any policy background, which is completely different than because I wasn't political science, and a lot of times people that go into policy graduate programs they have the political science background, and I did not have it. I knew that I wanted to work behind the scenes, maybe do district work, superintendent, something close to the lines of that. But as I started to go through the classes, I got really interested in graduation hours and what it takes in Tennessee to say that you are ready to go off to college, you are ready to get a career. And I found myself in classes all the time telling my ninth graders, like, hey, you're gonna have to do this when you get to college, or you're gonna have to do this in your career. So, what's next steps for you? Then I started to look at Portrait of a Graduate, which are like kind of characteristics that you need to have to say that you're ready to be out in the real world and not only be out in the real world, but be successful and thrive when you get there. So my dissertation topic is teacher perspectives on college readiness for predominantly Black high schools, because I've only taught at predominantly Black high schools, except for KIPP. Um, and making sure, and that kind of feeds going back towards an HBCU and making sure children of color are ready to go to college because they're um, disproportionately just behind the curve when it comes to getting ready for college and having access to teachers that can get them ready for college. So when they get to college, they don't stay there. But I want to make sure that all of our students matriculate if we send them off and if they have the aspirations to go. They've told us many times, like, not everyone will see what you see when it comes to your dissertation. So I'm very aware that college is not for everybody, but for the kids that do want to go, I want to make sure that they are ready and the practices that are put in place in our high school classrooms help them to meet, I keep saying, the expectations at the college level because it's way off. I can tell that it's way off because they get the grades in high school, but when they get to college, they start to struggle. So make sure they're ready.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, so we are wrapping up. Anybody else want to comment on anything else before we allow Chandler to close us out with her closing remarks? All right, Chandler, the floor is yours.
Yes. I'm, like I said at the beginning, I'm so grateful to come back during homecoming week and get the opportunity to speak. I am forever indebted to Tennessee State University and the English department LLP, and just being able to flourish there and them really having a hand in making my college experience just such a beautiful time. My classes were great. I never had any problems with scheduling. I really took pride in being an English major on a historically Black university campus, and I still take pride in saying that I have my bachelor's of English. And Dr. Pinkert and Dr. Morgan Curtis and Dr. Hayes and Dr. Hannah Quinn, they all had a hand in really making sure that I was knowledgeable because they were so knowledgeable. So I am so happy to be back, and I've told you all that I'm open to anything that you all need me to do because I truly do love um, the department and want anyone that comes through the department to be successful too because I had such a great experience, and I want the same for anybody else that chooses to be a part. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. And Chandler, I know you said you had a few family members on
I
with us.
do.
Would you guys like to share anything before we go?
It's
Any
fine.
family?
Look,
Okay, I just want to make
listen, I
sure.
don't know. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know if they know how to work Zoom or like
Woo!
push the mute, and I love them for that, but I don't know if they know how to turn it on.
Hey,
And
Chandler.
okay.
Okay, this is your aunt. This is your TT. I'm here with your grandmother. I just got off work and I caught it at the end. We've been watching about 30 minutes and we are so super proud of you. Your grandmother don't know what to say, but we are so proud of you. And of course, you know your papa would be overjoyed.
Okay, I'm crying.
Yeah, we all are so proud of you though, but we were watching and we saw most of it and we so impressed.
Yeah.
Love it.
And we love you.
Thank you. Love y'all too.
Anybody else?
Hi, I'm her little sister. I'm at work, so my camera is not going to work at the moment. Um, just going to say I'm very proud of her and I love her so much. And I most definitely was her first student. I've always known that she was going to be a teacher. I've been being her student for forever. So
Lots of worksheets.
just, yeah, lots of worksheets, lots of um paragraphs that I had to write for books that I did not want to read, but I can see now that everything came into place with the teaching of me. So it most definitely
Shelby.
came to a great end and is going very well for her, and I'm super proud.
Thanks.
Well, I love it. Who else? Anybody else?
Look, my mom was on here too, but she might cry. So
Go ahead and cry, Mom, if you need to cry.
she probably don't know how to turn it on. She at work.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's all right. That's all right. Well, without further ado, I did record this, so I will send it to you and send it to everybody else who would like it. We appreciate you so much. This was such a warm conversation and such a happy homecoming for you. And we are just happy to know you, happy to welcome you back, happy to embrace you, give you your flowers. And there are more flowers that will come with your um, doctor, your title coming. So we're excited. And please let us know when you do, because we will maybe have something on campus for you so we can celebrate you as a collective. We're very happy to hear that you're doing so well. So I will adjourn us for
I have
today. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
this is Chandler's mom, and I won't say too much.
Oh, Lord. She gonna cry.
I will cry. I am so proud of both of my girls. Chandler is a role model to her sister and to her whole entire family. She is so proud to be a student from TSU. Like she said, her grandparents would be, her granddaddy would be so proud of her. Sammy Comer, some of you may know Mr. Sammy Comer is her uncle. That's my dad's brother. And he's proud of her as well, along with Cassandra, his daughter. Just a proud mama moment. Just a proud mama moment. I say that I've graduated from TSU as well. Since Chandler went, I'm an AOB fan and just proud to know all of you and that you all think so much of Chandler. And like Shelby said, she was her first student on the steps at our little house. And that's all I'll say. And I love you, Chan.
Love you too.
I'm just speechless. This is so sweet. I love it. Your family is beautiful. This is such a beautiful, like the fact that we get access to this is amazing. I did record all of this, so you will have it for your records and you can share it. And again, we are just so happy to know you, so happy to welcome you back. And I just want everybody to again give Chandler one more round of applause for her just beauty and success at the esteemed.
Yay.
Go, Doc Wilson. Doc Wilson. Doc Wilson. Go, Doc Wilson. It's gonna
Chandler.
be VDW.
Chandler.
Yes.
I have one thing to say. Your cousin Jordan he's been on here, but he couldn't get his mic to unmute.
Okay.
But he was on watching and he's proud of you also.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.